Sanhun, recognizing the peril of the moment, recalled the skill steps. With resolute determination, he invoked the ability, executing an evasion that led him to land a fatal strike upon the orc's neck. The second orc, witnessing his brother's demise, reeled in disbelief at the speed with which Sanhun had dispatched him. As Sanhun discarded the defeated orc's body, he turned to confront the remaining foe, who gripped his club tightly, readying for what he believed would be an easy triumph. However, Sanhun was prepared to draw upon his newfound skills, ready to demonstrate that beneath the surface lay an indomitable will to survive. In the aftermath of such overwhelming fatigue, the orc collapsed to the ground, bewildered, and inquired about his whereabouts. At that precise moment, the protagonist, Sangun, positioned himself stealthily behind the orc. With a swift motion, he swung his sword, delivering a decisive blow to the creature's chest. The orc, now doubled over and gasping for breath, pleaded for a reprieve. Leaning closer, the main character coldly remarked that it was time for the beast to perish. With a swift arc of his blade, he severed the orc's head, its body crumpling to the earth, a crimson pool forming beneath it. Sangun exhaled deeply, reflecting on his narrow escape. He had significantly underestimated these foes, realizing that a moment's folly could have cost him dearly. The most perplexing aspect of this quest lay in the task of slaying 3 orcs. The protagonist could have easily retreated after dispatching just one, yet doing so would risk forfeiting additional rewards. Gripping the sword's hilt tightly, he contemplated the fact that one of these creatures had nearly claimed his life. Opening the system interface, Sangun acknowledged the need to hone his combat prowess. He extracted a black thread from the display and pulled it taut, contemplating his strategy. He had no intention of confronting the orcs head-on. Observing the tightened thread, he allowed himself a fleeting smile. Moments later, a cry echoed from within the orc village. The elder, frustration etched across his face, demanded to know the whereabouts of the scouts. A warrior reported that 14 orcs were unaccounted for, while another added that no explanation for their disappearance had been found. Anger welled within the elder as he concluded that humans were undoubtedly responsible. He commanded all able-bodied orcs to arm themselves and assemble, even as one warrior voiced concern over the majority being bedridden with fever. Then expedite their care, the elder barked. Do they wish to be slaughtered in their beds as the plague spreads? The warrior, trembling with fear, assured him that he would rally everyone immediately. Clutching his wooden staff tightly, the elder vowed that anyone who dared to engage the Crimson Feather Orcs would pay dearly for their misdeeds. He proclaimed that the transgressor would be subjected to a gruesome fate, impaled, dismembered, and fed to the beasts, all while witnessing their own body decay. As time passed, the orc warriors trudged through the forest. One, clearing his throat, lamented his ill state, while another lamented their dispatch on patrol despite their ailments, an act of cruelty. Suddenly, one orc triggered a trap concealed by leaves, plummeting into a pit with a cry of distress. The second orc peered into the gaping hole and questioned its normalcy. It's a trap, the ensnared orc shouted, realizing their predicament. Weapons protruded menacingly from the depths of the pit. The wounded orc clutched his chest, exclaiming his injury. What is this? He gasped. The second orc leaned over, promising to retrieve him, but at that moment, a shadow loomed ominously behind. The orc shouted, "Human," as Sangun emerged from the darkness. Enraged, the orc threatened vengeance, but the protagonist simply noted the serendipity of their shared interests. Drawing his sword, Sangun swung, but the orc parried the blow. Frowning in contemplation, he realized that facing 7 orcs simultaneously would be a formidable challenge, yet the current situation was manageable. Confident in his ability to duel 2 orcs simultaneously, he pondered the potential depletion of his magical energy and the implications of losing access to his skills. Sangun resolved to orchestrate a one-on-one confrontation, allowing him to engage the orcs without reliance on his abilities. The clash of their swords was brief, yet Sangun's strength was undeniable. With a fierce shout, he unleashed a decisive strike, decapitating the orc. The second orc, emerging from the pit, gasped in astonishment, asserting that his comrades would not let this transgression go unanswered. Sangun approached the orc, urging him to flee. However, after a moment, he plunged his sword into the orc's body, contemplating the necessity of extracting information about his group. The orc's agonized scream echoed as the blade pierced through. Pulling his sword free, Sangun seized the creature by the horn, smirking as he considered the ease with which he would complete the quest. Time elapsed, and Sangun checked his inventory, noting a plethora of weapons salvaged from the fallen orcs. Uncertain of their most valuable components, he had opted to collect fangs. With a full mana reserve, he calculated the potential uses of his Shock and Steps abilities, reaffirming that with strategic skill application, he could handle 2 orcs without issue. Sheathing his sword, he acknowledged that 14 more adversaries remained to fulfill the quest. Tired of delays, he pressed onward, emerging from behind a tree to spot the orc village. There it is, he mused, observing the unsettling stillness, no patrolling orcs or guards in sight. With a hand over his nose, he grimaced at the foul odor permeating the air. Peering through a window, he was met with the sight of orcs languishing on wooden beds. Pity tinged his thoughts as he recognized the telltale signs of disease afflicting them, reminiscent of those he had previously fought. Deciding swiftly, Sangun retrieved his sword, realizing he might conclude the quest far sooner than anticipated. These orcs would offer little resistance. As he approached the ailing orcs, one turned to him, wailing in agony and pleading for aid. Sangun, his heart hardened by necessity, mentally reconciled that to him, the creature was merely a means to an end. In a fleeting moment of compassion, he resolved to end its suffering swiftly. A scream reverberated through the infirmary, and as he wiped his chin, he noted that he had already dispatched 29 monsters, only one remained. Suddenly, an unsettling groan echoed from outside the infirmary door. An orc, clawing at the ground, announced the presence of human footprints and ordered an immediate investigation. Sangun pressed himself against the wall, horror-stricken, realizing he had become so engrossed in his task that he had neglected to notice the encroaching danger. The elder, clutching his staff tightly, grappled with the humiliation of a human infiltrating their village while they were away, too dazed by illness to think rationally. Had he been in good health, he would have detected the scent of blood wafting from the barn, but in his weakened state, he was oblivious to it. The elder stumbled into the infirmary, tripping over a taut thread. With a startled yelp, he demanded to know what madness was afoot. Sangun, seizing the opportunity, swung his sword and severed the orc's hand. The elder, indignant, countered with a fire arrow, declaring his status as an elder should not be underestimated. Sangun, watching the projectile approach, activated his Steps ability, envisioning the acrobatic maneuvers necessary to evade the attack. He dodged with agility, but a lack of physical prowess and experience caused him to lose his balance. A fiery arrow struck his shoulder, eliciting a cry of pain. The elder, reveling in his triumph, taunted him about the inevitability of being burned alive. Sangun, regaining his composure, reminded him of his passive skill. The system window chimed in, informing him of his magic resistance capabilities, which mitigated the damage from magic attacks. Shaking off the flames, he prepared for the next encounter. The elder, incredulous, questioned Sangun's resilience, but before he could process his disbelief, Sangun swiftly decapitated him. With orcs rushing forward, shouting for the elder, one warrior cried out in desperation, begging for forgiveness. In that moment, a system notification appeared, confirming that Sangun had met the conditions for killing the sick orcs. "Does the main character wish to complete the mission?" the system queried. With a grin, Sangun proclaimed that the quest was indeed accomplished. In a flash, a portal whisked him away, leaving the orcs bewildered by his sudden disappearance. Upon returning to the city, the system window confirmed the completion of the quest related to hunting sick orcs. He had fulfilled the slaughter conditions, earning a standard reward of 3,000 gold and a Turk amulet, along with a bonus for his first execution in slaughter mode, totaling an impressive 15,000 gold and an increase in strength. Sangun approached the door, a triumphant grin on his face, pushing it open with a sense of accomplishment. It seemed he had indeed proven to be the swiftest among his peers. In an astonishing turn of events, the protagonist discovered the unexpected utility of agility. With a strategic decision, he allocated all bonus points into enhancing this attribute. The main character's voice resonated as he finally beheld the staff bestowed upon him. The system interface unveiled the staff belonging to the enigmatic orc elder, classified under the magic type. Crafted from mere twigs, this staff possessed the remarkable ability to siphon magical energy over time, resulting in a modest yet beneficial reduction of 1% in mana consumption during skill activation. Only a 1% reduction, mused Sandgun. Better than nothing. He cast a sidelong glance at a girl nearby, their eyes locking momentarily. A sudden thought crossed his mind. Had she also triumphed in this quest under the massacre mode? A grin crept across his face. It seemed he was a step ahead after all. Cameron inquired if he should undertake another quest, as he hadn't yet hit his limit. Approaching the counter, he addressed Sarah, announcing his intention to accept the mission to eradicate the rat people. With a smile, Sarah acquiesced, asking if he would commence the next task immediately. Ree, casting a disapproving glance at the main character, declared her own intention to join the quest against the rat people. Sarah, still grinning, confirmed their simultaneous dispatch to the mission site. Confusion washed over Simon as he pondered whether she had indeed chosen the same quest as him.